Hey, what's up guys? How you doing? It's me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. On this video, I'm going to connect my PlayStation 4 Pro to OPPO UDP 203 HDMI in input. Okay, so there's my PlayStation 4 Pro, and from PlayStation 4 Pro, the HDMI cable is gonna go to the back of the HDMI in on the OPPO, and I'm gonna show you in the back where that is. Alright, you see where it says HDMI in? That's where you connect your PlayStation 4 Pro. From the TV out to the HDMI in the back of the OPPO 203. Okay? It's kind of similar to the Xbox One X, but the only difference here is this is a pass-through, HDR pass-through, 4K and HDR pass-through. So meaning that you can use 4K and HDR through the OPPO. Okay? Now this one right here goes to your TV. This is the premium HDMI cable that came in with the OPPO. This one goes to your TV. Okay, so just make sure you connect it to your HDMI in here in the back. Okay, so the next step is going to be going to my OPPO. First I have to boot up my OPPO right here. On the power button right here, I'll boot it up. There it is. I'll put it up. And then we're going to click on the HDMI in. I'm using my OPPO through HDMI in, which is the Xbox One X. And you can see it right there. It's already lit up. Now we're going to use my remote control from the cell phone. Click on it. Now what this is, it's a Resident Evil Vendetta. I already had the movie playing in the disc, so I'm not going to resume the playback. I'm just going to go ahead and go back home. Do that really quick. Okay, there it is. There's the OPPO right there. Now here's the trick. You know, if you want to get input, if you want to find the input, HDMI inputs from the back of OPPO, you're not going to find it here. I just want to clarify this. You will not find it here on this display menu. It will not be here. The only place you will find it, it's on your remote control. Okay, so I just want to clarify that. Don't look for it here. It's not going to show up here once you connect it through HDMI in. Forget about the display menu. The only way you're going to find it, it's on your big giant remote control right here. And here's the button you have to press. I'm going to try to focus this so you guys can see it better. Hold on. See where it says input? Right there. That's where you're going to go. You're going to click right over here where it says input. Right next to the open and power button, in between those two. Input. That's the button you're going to press. You're going to press the input button. And once you do that, there you have your Blu-ray player, your HDMI in, and your ARC HDMI out. This is your ARC HDMI out for your audio. But since I don't have any audio connected to it, we're going to go back. We're going to click the input. And we're going to go ahead and connect it to, we'll leave it to the Blu-ray player for now. Let me first turn on my console. My PlayStation 4 Pro console. So I'm gonna turn on my PlayStation 4 Pro console. There it is. You see it lit up. I'm gonna turn it on, and then I'm gonna use this button right here, the input button right here, the input button. I'm gonna use the input button. And from there you will see, there it is, HDMI in. I'm going to click on the HDMI in, select HDMI in, and it should show up. Hold on. Let's see. There it is. You see? There it is. It had shown up. There you go. Okay, but the first thing I'll have to do here, I'll have to go to my menu, and select HDR. Let me go over here and let me select HDR. I'm gonna go right over here and I'm gonna click on sound and screen, and I will select HDR. It should support HDR because I already have a new update, which is 9022 or something like that. The new update for OPPO. I will, by the end of this video, I'm going to show you the update, the firmware update. I'm going to go to the OPPO and I'll give you the correct update. I don't want to just guess it. I want to give you the accurate update. So you will have the new firmware update on there, the number and everything. I will give it to you guys. Okay. And yes, you don't have to use USB stick. You can directly download that update from OPPO digital servers. Okay. You just got to be connected to the internet. Alright, so we'll select HDR on right here. My PlayStation 4 Pro controller. Put in automatic. Hold on, what do you mean it does not support? Deep color out, automatic. That's interesting. How is it not supporting HDR? Let me see something really quick here. I thought it was supposed to be supporting HDR because Apple 4K TV was supporting HDR, but for some reason PlayStation 4 Pro doesn't. All right, let me go over here to my settings. Let me see what's going on. Let me check my TV inputs. Let's check the HDMI mode. It's 2.0. Let's keep it on automatic. Let's see what happens if we keep it on automatic. And let's go back to it. Let's go back. It does not support HDR. So I guess you cannot... PlayStation 4 Pro does not support HDR through OPPO. But that is so weird because Apple 4K TV supports HDR through OPPO, but PlayStation 4 Pro for some reason doesn't support it. That's interesting. Let me go to my menus over here. Let me select the input. And let me go to my Blu-ray player. Let me see. Maybe there's something I have to do on the settings. Let me see. Let me check out the setup. Let me see. Video setup. Output resolution automatic. Custom resolution automatic. Auto. Okay. Let's go to a device setup. All right. This is that new update. I was correct. It's 0922. So that's the number of the firmware update. And if you want to update, you click on the firmware upgrade, and then you can choose you want via disk, via USB, or via network. I choose via network. But this is that new update, firmware update 0922. Don't worry about the 51. That UDP 20X51 will always be there. It's just a serial number. 0922 is the official firmware update. I don't know. That's strange. See, I have selected UHD HDR to support both UHD and HDR. I did select that, didn't I? I did. It's selected, so I don't know why it's not supporting it. That is weird. Maybe it's my TV. I don't know. Let me see something. Let me play a movie really quick and let me see what's going on. I just want to see if the Dolby Vision is going to show up here. Let me see. I'm just going to resume this like really quick just to see if it's going to... It does support Dolby Vision, doesn't it? Let me see. Well, that's interesting. It's not showing it. Wow. What is going on? That's strange. Hold on. Let me go back and let me go to the settings. Yeah, lately this TCL has been having some issues, like reading the dynamic instead of standard metadata. Dynamic and standard metadata has been having some issues. I've noticed that, and I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna leave it on 2.0. Let's go back and let's see now. See what happens now. Let's click on it. Okay, I'm just going to quickly hit play just to see if it works. See what's going on. Alright, let's skip through this. It's not reading HDR for some reason. I might have to unplug and plug in my HDMI cable. Maybe something with my HDMI cable. Let me go check that out really quick. Alright, let me go do that. You see, this Roku TV is having some issues. It's having some problems. It's not reading it properly, the dynamic metadata and static metadata. I don't think this is the 4K player, because 4K player, it is reading it. I can see it down at the bottom. This is something to do with my television. This TCL probably needs the new firmware update or something, or the new firmware update that they have. It's not working properly. Something's going on. There might be a conflict between the dynamic metadata and static metadata between the HDMI inputs, and this also depends on the hardware. You know, I don't know what type of hardware is TCL using to process that dynamic metadata, and that could be an issue too. So this is, but look, this is an entry-level television. This is something you should expect from an entry-level television. Okay, I think I can fix this, but it's kind of annoying. But I think I can fix it. I'm gonna see if I can do that right now. Let me go to TV inputs. Let me go to the HDMI modes, and let's put it on automatic. Let's see what happens. Now let me go back and let me try and see what happens now. It's an automatic. Let's see. Okay, still the same thing. Okay. That's interesting. Let me go to the settings. Let me go to the inputs again. HDMI modes. Let's keep it on 2.0. And let's go back. It's not the cable, because I'm using a premium cable. It's something with this television. The hardware built inside this television, it's having some hiccups with the new firmware update. Like dynamic metadata, it's not rendering it properly. It's not compressing it properly. So let's see what happens now. It's still there. All right, let's try turn off and on. I'm gonna turn off my OPPO, and I'm gonna turn it back on, and let's see what's going on. Okay, so I'm gonna turn back on my OPPO. Come on, OPPO. Giddy up, giddy up. Here we go. There it is. I turned it back on. All right, let's see what happens now. All right, there's the OPPO right there. Okay, let's check the disk. It's gonna load it right now. We'll see what's going on now and see if it's gonna be able to read it in Dolby Vision, because I did leave it at 2.0, and we'll see what happens. 2.0 is the HDMI input for HDR and Dolby Vision. See, it reads now. See, now it's working. Now it's working. All right, that's cool. It's working. Let's see. Yeah, it's working now. I don't know what's going on. Honestly, I'm not sure what the deal is with OPPO, but I have find out this new firmware update's been having this issue. This issue has been constantly reoccurring. Now, I don't know if this has to do something with my TCL Roku TV. It could be my TCL Roku TV hardware. It's having an issue trying to maybe render that dynamic metadata bandwidth really fast. That could be a mainly software update issue. That's what I'm guessing. You know, it's probably a software update issue, but it's not something that you should worry too much about. You just have to reset it, okay? And you can use this video as a reference to get this to work. All right, since now I have Dolby Vision available through this thing, I'm gonna go to the HDMI input. Remember, I'll use this input right here where it says input right there. Let me show you. See where it says input? I'm gonna click on that input. And then from there, we're going to switch to PlayStation 4 Pro, and we'll see if PlayStation 4 Pro will support HDR. Okay, let's switch to it now. Let's see what happens. Okay, there it is. There's the PlayStation 4 Pro. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to HDR. Switch to HDR. I'm going to go over here. Where is it? Settings. And we'll go to sound and screen. Okay, HDR it's on automatic. Deep color it's on automatic. And let me see. Alright, should work. I'm going to try one game just to see if it works. I'm going to click on Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo Sport. It's installing update files. Hopefully it's not a huge file. Okay, let's start. There's the Gran Turismo Sport. Let me move my camera back away a little bit. Like that. There we go. Sony Computer Entertainment. I'll position my camera this way so that way the light, it's not shining too much. Like I'm gonna do it like this. Okay. Okay, you see HDR is turned on. You can see HDR, so it's working. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It is working. So I guess all you have to do is you have to reset. You have to turn. The best thing to do if this happens, just follow the instructions from this video. Make sure to turn off and on your OPPO, and it'll work. Okay. So this is cool. I like this. I like the fact that I can use my PlayStation 4 Pro through my OPPO. This way, I have an extra space now for Xbox One X. When I get it, I can plug it into my third HDMI, and I can have my Apple 4K TV going to my HDMI 2. So I can, this way I have 4 HDMI inputs. So now I can have everything connected to my PlayStation, to my Roku TV. Okay, my TCL Roku TV. And this is pretty cool that they this is pretty cool that this OPPO has this, because well, one good example right here. I have only 3 HDMI inputs. Now with this one I have 4. That meaning is that I can connect through one HDMI. I can have my OPPO and PlayStation 4 Pro, and then on my second HDMI I can connect my Xbox One X. And through the Xbox One X, I can also connect my Xbox One S. So that way I'm all covered. And then on my third HDMI, I can connect my Apple 4K TV. So you see, it saves you a space on your HDMI inputs, okay? So there you go. It works fine. It works great. The HDR is turned on. Here, let me show you. I turned on the light because I was doing a close-up on my 4K player, so that's why the light was turned on. And then you can switch back between, again, you just click on the input button right here, and you can switch between Blu-ray player or HDMI, and just click on Blu-ray player, and then you wait a little while, and you will see the Blu-ray player. There it is, and the Dolby Vision will play out of Resident Evil Vendetta. You click on it, and it's gonna play, and it's kind of cool. So if you're playing a video game, let's say you're playing PlayStation 4 Pro, right? Or whether you have PlayStation 4 Pro or Xbox One X connected, doesn't really matter. You see there's Dolby Vision. You have the ability to switch back and forth. Okay, let's say I'll continue watching this movie later on. Then you click back to your PlayStation. You continue playing your PlayStation. Once you get tired of playing your PlayStation, your Xbox One X, then you just click back on the input and you go back to your movie and you continue. And you continue watching it. You click play, and there you go, dude. It's pretty cool stuff. You know. So it works. So this new update, it works. Like I said, it supports HDR, pass-through, and 4K. That's pretty cool. Having said that, that means that you can connect your PlayStation 4 Pro or your Xbox One X through your OPPO UDP 2 or 3 4K player. And this is the reason why this 4K player is so unique, okay? Not only is it built with such a great quality, not only does it support Dolby Vision and HDR, it has a laser eye, a super high-end readable disk drive, and it has advanced processing upscaler in there that reads even your DVDs, converts them, okay, and it also upscales your Blu-ray movies to 4K, nearly 4K, man. It looks fantastic. So no matter what you're playing on this thing, will look great, will sound great. You can play any of the CDs, rewritable, burned CDs, whatever. You can play anything on this thing. OPPO, it's definitely the best 4K player there is. You know, there's no question about that. All right, so then if you get tired of this, you can always switch back to PlayStation 4 Pro. You come here, and there you are. You're on a PlayStation 4 Pro. You just have to wait a little while, a few seconds, and then it's gonna get back to it. It's pass-throughing it right now. There it is, HDR. There you go. Oh, come on. Why are you doing that to me? You see, this is what I was talking about. It's like there's some sort of like a problem with this TV. This TCL, it's having a hard time rendering the dynamic metadata and static metadata for some reason, okay? So again, what you have to do, you have to turn off your OPPO, and then turn it back on, okay? Wait for it. And then turn it back on. All right, there it is. I think it's about a few seconds, and you will see it shortly. Hold on. But you got to make sure to go to the input. I'm sorry, you got to go to the input. Go to the input. And go to the, hold on. There you go, you see? Now it's working. And then click to the HDMI in. Alright, let's wait a little bit. You see? There it is. It's working. This only happens to my TV because TCL Roku TV, it's I guess the hardware that's built into it, it's not strong enough, powerful enough to process that bandwidth of that data between HDR and Dolby Vision, between static metadata and dynamic metadata, because on one output I'm watching a Dolby Vision disc, and on the other output I'm playing a HDR Gran Turismo Sport. So that's the conflict between static metadata and dynamic metadata. And also depends on the cable. I mean, honestly, I always advise people buy a 2.0 premium HDMI cable. Okay, get the one that has like 20 megabits per second, like the fastest. Remember, you don't look for the cosmetics and all that crap. And it doesn't matter if it's a gold plated or not. Always look for the bandwidth, the high speed. And what's the high speed measured on that cable? Is it 18 Mbps? That's fine, but I would prefer to go to 20 to 27 MP. If you can get a cable that's 27 to 28 megabits per second bandwidth data, high speed HDMI premium cable, go with that. Definitely go with that, because with that cable, with that kind of transfer, you will be able to quickly go between the HDR and Dolby Vision. It's going to read HDR static metadata and Dolby Vision dynamic metadata much faster between the two inputs, okay? And cables are very important. Yes, they are, because that's how you're transmitting. Remember, the cables is your bridge to that TV. And if it's a bottleneck, well, you're not going to send that information really quick, really fast. So having a good HDMI cable, it's really important. Vince and Tio talked about this also as well. Sometimes it's not a good idea to have a long HDMI cable. Remember, the shorter the cable, the better, if you can. But if you can't and you have to have a long HDMI cable, make sure that it's a very good quality HDMI cable. And make sure it's like a 20 megabits per second, at least 20 Mbps speed for that bandwidth, so you can read that bandwidth, okay? So that's also very important to remember. Audio Quest, I would recommend, but go with the Cinnamon Audio Quest. It's like $69. I know it's expensive, $69, but hey, again, you get what you pay for, guys. You know, I mean, you can buy a cheap HDMI cables, but this is the kind of problem you're going to encounter, okay? So if you don't want to encounter these kind of issues and problems, get the little extra cash and get the best of the best and have the best of the best of experience, okay? That's the whole idea, all right? You don't want to be annoyed with this constantly where you have to do this kind of stuff, so make sure you get really, really good HDMI cables. I recommend Audio Quest, the Cinnamon ones, they're $69. Maybe you can find it cheaper somewhere else out there, I don't know. But they're pretty good. They're about they're about 20 Mbps and 20 megabits per second. It's more than enough of a bandwidth. That's a high-speed bandwidth for you to read. So that way you have that instant read. When you switch between the inputs, you have that instant read. You know what I mean? So yeah, make sure you have really good HDMI cables. And I know some people are on the fence about that. Yes, you can use pretty much any low-end, cheap-end HDMI 2.0 cables, but they're not going to read that bandwidth as fast as the ones that are like 20 Mbps or even higher. Okay? You want that constant read of HDR and Dolby Vision to be a constant bandwidth, constant bit rate. Okay? That's the whole idea. If you're going to spend already enough money to have a really high-end 4K player, then you should definitely also have a high-end HDMI cable to go with it as well. Okay? But for those of you who are enthusiasts, home theater and movies enthusiasts, and you know, into this whole 4K thing, I'm pretty much am aware that you guys know this and understand this. Alright, so there you guys have it. There you go. Hopefully you like this video. You can use this video as a reference. If you want to connect your PlayStation 4 Pro, you can do so, and it supports HDR. If you want to connect your Apple 4K TV, supports HDR as well. any external device that supports HDR and 4K, OPPO will support it as well. There you have it. Thank you guys for watching this video, and you guys have a nice weekend. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.